Hello everyone, welcome back to Books with Genghis Khan. I have for you today my 5-star predictions. So hopefully you'll get a sense for what my priority TBR is for the upcoming year as well. Now the easiest one is Excalibur, Book 3 of the Warlord Chronicles by Bernard Cornwell. I gave an easy 5 stars to Enemy of God. I was blown away by Book 2. And so I often just love endings to series and get really wrapped up in resolutions and big climactic moments. So I think this is a no-brainer. I've seen lots of people love it. So yeah, easy 5-star prediction here. And then the other really easy one is Ashes of Man. That is Book 5 of the Sun Eater saga by Christopher Racchio. It's coming out very soon. I've seen other big Sun Eater fans already read it ahead of time and love it. I think there's pretty much a 100% chance that I'll give this 5 stars. The question is just how great of a 5-star read will it be for me? I hope. And then this one is the last book, I believe book 10 of The Black Company by Glenn Cook, Soldiers Live. So recently, Jake Bishop just read this whole series and really loved this last book. And if he pitched it as kind of like the Malazan Marine sections of Malazan Book of the Fallen. It's like what this whole series is, and considering that's my favorite part of Malazan, I think I will probably really take to the Black Company. So I think out of all of them, the best chance is the very last book. And then this one is one I've seen people rave about recently, Troy, Lord of the Silver Bow by David Gemmell. That's the first book of the Troy trilogy. I love ancient Greece. I haven't read too much fiction set there. I love the Iliad and the few historical fiction books I've read, so I think I've read some early Gemmell and thought he was quite strong, but this is him after he has much more experience, and I think this one's going to be a big hit with me. The next one are a pair of Daniel Abraham reads, so I think I'm probably going to like overall the series of The Dagger and the Coin, but out of all of those, I'm just most likely, I think, to love the last book. This is The Spider's War. This is the last book, Book 5, Dagger and the Coin, and I've been told that he is a master plotter and architect, and that it's a bit of a slow burn, but that things really pay off by the end, and I love that when lots of different plot strands and character threads all come together towards the end. So I'm very confident that I will hopefully love this conclusion. The same goes for his shorter series, The Long Price Quartet. That's 4 books. I'm going to say that the final book, The Price of Spring, I believe, if I have that one right, is going to be the 5-star shoe-in for me if everything comes together in that book. And I really would love to get to this series soon and check out what Abraham's got to offer. Here's one that's kind of a self-pub standalone, although I've heard with the success of this first one that M.L. Spencer's going to be continuing in the series, so that's cool if I end up really loving it. I know Andrew's Wizardly Reads really loved this one, Petrick really loved it, and I think this kind of coming-of-age journey with a character who's on the autism spectrum sounds like something I've never read before, and I just think this book, love the cover, but I think I'm going to connect with this book, so very hopeful that this one is a 5-star read. Oh, and that's Dragon Mage, the title. Now to one of my favorite authors, John Gwynne. I've yet to dig into the Bloodsworn saga, his newest series, and based on how even people who didn't love Faithful and the Fallen were raving about this one, I think this one's going to be an easy 5 stars. I love even the John Gwynne books that don't get as much love, like the Blood and Bone trilogy or the first book, Malice of Faithful and the Fallen. So I can't wait to see Gwynne writing in a new setting with new characters. I love his style. So yeah, really pumped to get to this one, but I'm thinking about waiting until the 3rd book is closer to being out. Or else I know I'll just have to reread them, but if I love them, maybe that'll be worth it anyway. Now to a modern fantasy classic, Storm of Swords. So I've yet to read the A Song of Ice and Fire books. I've seen all of the Game of Thrones show, and I don't love the feeling like I've been spoiled on a lot of things, but I know that I need to read the actual books written by George R. R. Martin. I know that they're probably going to be spectacular since I really like the show, especially the seasons where they had his source material. So this is the book that everyone seems to love the most. And maybe I'll join the new A Song of Ice and Fire read-along that I know Joanna and Rekindled Reader are also having soon in, I think, at the start of 2023. So maybe that'll be my time to finally dig in. I have all these nice first edition hardcovers from used bookstores, so I definitely want to see what the actual writing is like from George R. R. Martin. Another self-pub standalone is The Sword of Kaigan. I have tried not to learn too much about it because I don't like to really be spoiled on even setup and plot points, but people seem to really connect to one of the main POV characters, and apparently there's a lot of gripping action and gets people very emotionally invested, so I'm pretty confident this one is going to be a big hit for me. Then a historical fiction, James Clavell's Shogun. I saw Rekindled Reader might start a read-along of this or be part of it soon, and I'm probably going to join. I loved the movie The Last Samurai when I was younger. That's with Tom Cruise, is this American who washes up on the shores of Japan, I think in the 1800s, middle of the 1800s, and he is just this fish out of water and in this, trying to become part of the samurai culture, and I just was gripped by that movie, and I think this is a similar kind of plot, and so I know it's a type of story that I might really love, and it's a classic in the genre, so I think this one is likely going to be, hopefully, a very, very big hit for me. Here's one that I found because of Red Fury Books recommending it. It's a small kind of sci-fi standalone by Ken Grimwood that's a replay, and I haven't read too many time travel books, but I like that as a trope. I've enjoyed Groundhog Day type stories in the movies, and I think I just haven't read too many in books, so this might be really cool and fresh for me, and I'm hoping that it turns out really well. Now to a series I know I need to read, and that is the Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee. I think likely the one that has the most chance of being 5 stars is this book 2, Jade War. Often book 1s don't reach 5 stars for me because the setup is doing all of this necessary setup, but that doesn't get me too emotionally involved yet. So it usually takes until book 2 for me to feel that emotional investment where I'm like, yes, I'm gripped to every part of this page. I'm already invested at the start of page 1, and that the whole book is just that gripping, escapist, awesome experience where I know, oh yeah, easy 5 stars. Book 2 is where I'm hoping that is the case, and book 3 I know there's some more time jumping, and I'm less certain that that one is going to be 5 stars, but this one I'm pretty confident. Now some picks from Alan at the Library of Alexandria. I ended up really liking the K.J. Parker novella Purple and Black that Alan was recommending, and he keeps on raving about a couple of the standalone novels by K.J. Parker. The Company, this premise just sounds so cool, where a bunch of friend soldiers just are retiring to the small island to start up their own ideal society. That just sounds amazing, and I can't wait to get to that one. And then there's The Folding Knife. I think Alan keeps talking about the protagonist Basso, who is just this very smart, clever character, and I think there's a lot of some banking involved in this, and just sounded like a very interesting premise that is not too typical for modern fantasy, so very intrigued here. Another Alan pick would be Guns of the Dawn by Adrian Tchaikovsky. So I loved Adrian Tchaikovsky's 10-book Shadows of the Apps series. I also loved the novella Ogres that came out this year, and so Tchaikovsky is perfect for me, and I think this book sounds like it's very character-driven, kind of a war book. Everyone that has read this recently seems to like it, so I think there's a very small chance I won't at least really like it. And then I've yet to try Tchaikovsky's science fiction, but this is the book that really made him quite well known and famous, Children of Time. I know people talk about it being kind of spiders, and which I'm a bit of an arachnophobe, so I hope I'm not too put off if there's a lot of spider stuff going on in here. But I'm very curious to see his sci-fi, and everyone seems to really like this first book from this series. I know the third one's coming out, I think, next year. So we'll see how this one goes. All right, now a couple more Bernard Cornwell predictions. I have loved the Sharp series. I think the first 6 books I read I gave 5 stars to in that series until we got to some of the earlier ones that he had written. And I am very hopeful with these two. First of all, Cornwell writes battle so well. There's a whole book called Sharp's Battle. I don't know too much about it, but if there is a big epic battle at the heart of this, I think it's going to be utterly gripping. So 5-star prediction for Sharp's Battle. And then towards the end of the series, Sharp's Waterloo. This is going to be, I think, a culmination style book, even though he's written books chronologically that take place after this. But it's going to be surrounding, hopefully, this one epic battle where the whole Napoleonic Wars came to a close. So I have high hopes for Sharp's Waterloo. Or just Waterloo. Oh, did he break the naming conventions for that one? And then we have some Robin Hobb. So I really liked the Farseer trilogy, and everyone who loves that series says things just get stronger in some of the later trilogies. So I have yet to start the Live Ship Traders, but I'm hoping that all of them are going to be 5-star reads. But I think the one that has the most likelihood is the last one of the trilogy, Ship of Destiny, just because it's not going to be a setup book and it's going to be bringing things to a resolution. So I think that one is very likely 5 stars. And then Fool's Fate, which is the finale to the Tawny Man trilogy. Again, hopefully all those books in that trilogy are going to be 5 stars, but I think this one is the most likely. Now some Guy Gavriel Kay picks. So I have yet to try any Guy Gavriel Kay, but I have almost all of his books because I am so confident that I'm going to like that style. I've studied a lot of history. I've enjoyed historical fiction, and he kind of writes fantastical historical fiction, and I've only ever heard great things about a lot of these books. So the first one is Tigana. That's one of his earliest, and it's one of his most famous, and I think there's a very good chance that I'm going to love that. Then there is The Lions of Al Rassan. I know Jake Bishop absolutely loves this book. I think he's already reread it after not reading it first time too long ago. Said he got very emotionally invested, and I've learned a little bit about Spanish history, and so I know this is based on lots of different religious factions fighting wars kind of in Spain. That sounds quite intriguing to me. And then there's Lord of Emperors, which is the finale of the Sarantine Mosaic duology. And Jake says it's just one of the best Guy Gavriel Kay books, and it also doesn't have to do any of the setup that Sailing to Sarantium has to do, so this being just an ending book also really appeals to me. So pretty confident in that one. And then there is a historical fiction book, Gates of Fire, by Stephen Pressfield. This is a novelization of the Battle of Thermopylae. Lots of people have read it recently and really liked it. I like fast-paced, action-heavy books, and haven't read too much ancient Greek historical fiction, like I've said, so I think this will hopefully read very fresh. It's been many years since I saw the movie 300, and I want a more realistic take. So I've actually traveled through Greece and studied ancient Greek history and been to the site, supposedly, of where the Battle of Thermopylae happened. So having been to a lot of these places, I'll be able to picture things, I think, geographically very clearly. That'll hopefully add to my experience. And lastly is a Stephen King book. So I've liked the 2 Stephen King books I've read so far. I read Salem's Lot and Apt Pupil. And this one, a lot of people seem to love. This is 11/22/63. It's another time travel book. It's kind of historical fiction as well. This whole JFK assassination is something that's always fascinated me. So I think there's a very good chance that this one will be 5 stars. So lots of different authors on here that I want to read more of or start for the first time. And a lot of books I'm really excited to get to. So let me know if there's any in there that you think are likely not 5 stars for me based on my reading taste. What is on here that was 5 stars for you, or that didn't work for you for one reason or another. And let me know if there's anything else that you think will be a 5-star read for me that wasn't on here. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.